Just a quick response to people's comments. I, I left a slightly scurrilous film about going through Manchester train station, and of course I got home in the end. But I am so unbelievably exhausted. I can hardly put one foot in front of the other, and then the thought of losing an hour because the clocks are changing and still having to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and do YouTube videos and then teach for 3 hours just fills me with horror. And it shouldn't be like this. We shouldn't have to. It shouldn't be so exhausting to have to engage with basic transport. If you paid for transport and you've got a ticket, then it should work. And it wasn't so much the fact that things were delayed, it was the nastiness of the staff. And just simply being ignored, asking the same question to us, not just one person. It wasn't. This was the point. There's a cult in Manchester Piccadilly station where the staff simply ignore anybody who talks to them. And then when you do finally get to talk to somebody, when they do find, when you go to a booth and you try and talk to the information people, they are simply abhorrently rude. And even when you get onto a platform because you can't stand the concourse any longer, and you look around a place for somewhere to sit, there is nowhere. I ended up standing on a platform for about 3/4 of an hour simply because I didn't want to stand on this bustling concourse where nobody was prepared to help, and I had heavy bags. It didn't help that during the night there was a fire alarm in the hotel where I was staying. So, one hotel bed bugs and the next hotel burning down or threatening to burn down, and you just expect a quality of service. There can always be accidents, but you expect a quality of service and a quality of care, which seems to be missing. What we've got is just excuses and contempt and evasion. And the train service, it's in its name. It's a train service. And the hotel industry, again, that is implicit. It's in its name. And the hotel was fine. Breakfast was a misery. Squashed into a little room. There was another completely empty breakfast room, and you just have this endless music. So you can't really get anything done while you're doing sort of breakfast and stuff, and it's old eggs and you fear to be a moaning Minnie. Except that I think it wasn't like this even 10 years ago. It wasn't like this. There was a courtesy and care, and now there's just a contempt. Lots of C's there, but there's a lot of C's running around the place in these industries, and they're just callous and cruel. And I don't understand why it is as it is. Handlebar Mustache says railway staff can be particularly rude in many areas, I've found, much as bank staff have become some of the rudest individuals known to man. Hell, even McDonald's staff are snappy and hostile if you're rude enough to expect that your food be properly cooked when served to you or delivered in a timely manner. Well, I've never been to a McDonald's, so I don't intend to change a good habit. And had a 35-minute sit at a drive-through waiting bay recently, where I was given my milkshake when ordered, then expected to be happy when my food was brought out to my car. 35 minutes later, the milkshake gone warm and like water, and the food clearly reheated. Their response was, "We are not fast food anymore." And Pete Dutch says, "I've never been to Leeds or Manchester. I guess it's the same everywhere. Garbage, crime, poverty, and some nice people." Yeah, there's always nice people. Once I was on the train, I met lovely people on the train, on the way to Manchester, on the way from Manchester. But it's that bit in the middle. Tony Evans, I agree, the staff at all Manchester train stations act like thugs, rude and treat passengers with contempt. Northern trains are also the least reliable, most uncomfortable and overcrowded in the country. Absolutely. Absolutely. Diane says, Liverpool is 10 times better. The people are salt of the earth. We have the best football team in the world. Liverpool is teamed with Wexford in Ireland. We have a lot in common with Ireland because of the ports. Nice to home. Is it, Professor Tim? Have a pleasant... I don't understand that. Anyway, it's... Park says it would all be improved by nationalisation, of course. And GZK6NK says it's already renationalised in all but name. The few rail companies left are just on management contracts. DFT controls everything, even defining the seat types fitting to trains. The problem is the trains are not owned. The trains are not owned by the companies that operate them, and there's very little room for profit. Whether it's profit made by the government or whether it's profit made by private companies. So it's all about reducing the amount of staff used to manage the trains, reducing the amount of time the trains are at the stations, and so on, and reducing the amount of carriages, increasing the number of people, squashing them in. We need to be in a position where we own our own trains. And without that, we can't really move forward. The present position for the railways around the UK is hopeless, utterly hopeless. It doesn't, and we would have been much better off sorting out the train ownership rather than building HS2, which isn't going from London now. It seems it isn't actually going all the way into Birmingham. So it's just a stranded little bit of go fast, and you're going to spend so much time getting to it and getting from it that you're not going to save any time at all. It's simply going to be a misery.